How different can two very similar sounding Scotch whiskies get? I think we're about to find out. Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, today I'm taking a look at two Scotch whiskies with very similar profiles, but for whatever reason it's taken me until now to think about putting them head to head, and that is because frankly, well, I just don't think they're all that alike at all. First off, what are they? We have a bottle of the Dalmore's 12 Sherry Cask Select and a bottle of the Bunnahabhain 12. You can already see one similarity. They are both 12-year age statement bottles. They are both Sherry Cask whiskies. Obviously, Dalmore says it in the name, and the Bunnahabhain, if we take a quick look here, it does say small batch distilled, natural colour. Where has it gone? It's on the back and it says our 12-year-old is matured in sherry, bourbon and whiskey casks. So, okay, not exclusively sherry casks, although I doubt the Dalmore is either. So they should be, again, pretty similar in that regard. Price-wise, they are kind of similar. The Bunnahabhain's easy. It's a 45 to 50 quid bottle most of the time, and you can get it for 40 quid or a smidge less when it's on offer pretty regularly. Easy does it. The Dalmore, though, is a bit more difficult. I definitely didn't pay a huge amount for it. When I first searched for it, it came up 75, 80 quid. I thought, I'm sure that wasn't what I paid for it, but it was a couple of years ago. And then I noticed that the colour on the label on those was more of a purpley hue. This one, if I show you the bottle, you've got the kind of nice red, kind of, I guess you describe it as burgundy colour. And yeah, this one online for 75 quid was much more purple, bit more exploration, and I could find bottles with this colour label for 60, 65 quid, which puts it pretty close, I think is fair to say. Sorry, 55 to 65 quid. So, you know, at their extremes, they can be pretty similar. ABV's also pretty similar. The Dalmore comes in at 43%, or it's 86 proof, and the Bunnahabhain 46.3%, making me do the math. That's 92.6 proof. So a few plus points in the Bunnahabhain's favour, but they're not massively detached. But that is where the similarities in my mind end. In terms of taste and profile differences, we'll get into that when we open them, but just one thing that is definitely something we need to address is, well, the way that these are packaged are different. The Bunnahabhain is an all-out guaranteed, no colour additives, non-chill filtered whiskey, which is, let's be honest, what you want. The Dalmore says no such thing, and well, I think it's pretty well known now that Dalmore do indeed add colourant and probably chill filter their whiskey. So in terms of an approach, the Dalmore going for the more mass market option, and the Bunnahabhain the more connoisseur's choice. But yeah, let's get some drams poured, and I'll tell you really why I wanted to make this video in the first place. So, just while they aerate for a moment, I was sat here the other day going, what whiskies am I going to review? I could go out and buy more, but let's be honest, I've got quite a lot already. What kind of interesting narratives are there in the bottles that I've already got sat behind me? And I was trying to work out which ones were similar to do a head-to-head comparison with. And I couldn't believe that I'd never thought about these two, given they're both 12 years, they're both sherry cask, they're both yada yada yada. And yeah, I was like, why have I not thought of this before? And it's because I don't consider them in anywhere near the same product, which is weird because they should be, even visually now, if we pop these both up to the camera, colour-wise, they look very similar. I don't know how it's coming across on camera, but for me, the Dalmore looks a touch darker, a touch kind of more mahogany coloured, but let's be honest, it's probably got some dye in there, so we can't really take any of that as, well, legitimate. But we know everything in this glass. Let me take the other one away. This glass, the Bunnahabhain, is legit and, well, certainly looks it. So, yeah, it's a bit of an oddity, and I've never drank them close together, so this might be an experience, but I don't feel like they're a similar product. And I guess the point of this video will be to say that just because two things sound similar on paper doesn't mean you're in for anywhere near a similar experience. So, first off, the Dalmore. I did review this recently and said, to be honest, I found it disappointing, but every day is different and today could change. So, the aroma is a little bit hot, a little bit of ethanol. Definitely got a bit of kind of medicinal cleaning product about it. It's not as kind of intense as that proper TCP antiseptic cum iodine thing, but it's definitely got a bit of that. Behind that though, heaps of rich dark fruit, plums, figs, nice bit of festive spice in there as well. It's, yeah, I'll be honest, right now, smelling really enjoyable. I feel like I didn't approve of it as much on the aroma last time I tried it, but anyway, yes, very nice. And what's now making me worried is I feel like the description of this is going to be very, very similar. And by this, of course, I mean the Bunnahabhain 12. On the aroma, it is, but it's so far away at the same time, which is why this test is interesting for me anyway. It's not got any of that sharp, strong ethanol punch. It's not got any really abrasive antiseptic notes. What it's got is the deepest, darkest plums. It's the only way to describe this whiskey is as Christmas cake. It's pure Christmas cake. It is this slightly savoury, nutty bit along with heaps of rich, almost too rich, heavy, just loaf cake, and the amount of deep, rich, dried raisins, sultanas, prunes, figs. You know the thing. It's all of that, and you even get a little bit of the sherry in there as well. Now I'm thinking about it, I just want to come back to the Dalmore. I might be tricking myself here, but that slightly punchy aroma that I said was kind of medicinal, but not quite the full thing. I'm actually now thinking that's, straight up sherry aroma, to be honest. You know what I mean? That first bit, when you whiff over a fortified wine, it can be quite abrasive and somewhat similar. The tones are not wildly different, but this still feels, despite, and by this I mean the Dalmore, still feels, despite its rich descriptors, is quite a middle of the road experience in terms of the weight and the intensity of those flavours. On the flip side, the Bunnahabhain is just pure cake. It's that thick just on the aroma that it's like, well, don't stick cake up your nose, but if you wanted to know what that might be like without the discomfort, then this would be a great place to start. Anyway, in for a try with the Dalmore. Cheers. You know what, last time I reviewed this, and it really wasn't that long ago, I went in hard on it being just not that rich, not that deluxe, not that whatever. And okay, it's not, and maybe for the price it is a little bit tame, but there is depth to the flavour. There is a very, very distinct raisin and sultana flavour throughout. You can't get away with it, even down to, like, you know when you get a raisin or sultana and it's got the tiny bit of stem stuck in the top, it's just like a millimetre of it, and you get this slightly woody crunch. It's got the flavour of that in there, obviously. It's from the barrels, but I mean, boozy liquid sultanas all day long. It was a bit dry and flat on the back end, which I'm not mad on, but definitely not as bad as I thought it was last time. But I've got to say, I'm not sipping that and gone, oh, it's Christmas already. You know what I mean? Like, it's got those flavours, but I've not been really transported to, sat in front of a cosy log fire just after my turkey dinner, which I suspect will change right now as we get into the Bunnahabhain. Cheers. What? Okay. It did not kick on the aroma, but on the palate, that ABV, that slightly inflated ABV, that 3 and a bit %, definitely punching. And, well, wow, yes, punchy. And this isn't just the sultana and raisin show. This is the whole damn Christmas cake. It really is. It's thick, it's rich, in the glass, it sticks around. It's a brilliant tactile feel. I've been complaining a lot recently about thin whiskies, and this isn't. Okay, it's not the strongest out there, but just the mouthfeel on it is absolutely fantastic. And you know what? I feel like I'm going to have to eat my hat a little bit. I, in general, prefer the Bunnahabhain. I think it is a brilliant expression of a sherry cask. And I know some people right now are just bored of sherry bomb whiskies, and these are two of them. And they're not for me all the time. I don't generally gravitate towards a sherry cask unless it's a style or from a distillery I don't know that I definitely like their signature style wise. As a result, I'll buy the sherry cask because then at least I know what some of the flavours are going to be, and I will at least be able to enjoy it, even if it's not the most interesting all the time. But that Bunnahabhain is for your more experienced whiskey consumer, without doubt. It's bigger, it's richer. I think it is slightly brash in places that I hadn't really realised it was before putting it head to head with the Dalmore. But the Dalmore, now we come back again, start to get some vanilla kind of French cream notes on there. It's curiously feels like a bourbon after you've gone back to drink the Bunnahabhain. So this is so rich, so intense, so full of those sherry flavours. This now tastes like a bourbon, despite this one being the one that it was actually spent some time in a bourbon cask for sure. So that just goes to show you what happens when you blast your palate out. But I don't hate this Dalmore as much as I thought I did. I never hated it. I just thought it was completely ridiculously overpriced. And at that new 70, 75 quid, whatever it is, for the slightly different colour bottle, it is ridiculously overpriced. But you know what? For a fancy one-off at Christmas for people that might not be really, really into their whiskey, I think it is a great shout. But which one would be at my Christmas dinner table? Well, it'd be the Bunnahabhain, but that is just because I do absolutely love it. If you want the in-depth notes of either of these, I have reviewed them both before, so feel free to go back and check those out. If I remember, I will link them down in the description. But yes, I think that is it for this comparison. I hadn't intended this to be like a what's the best Christmas whiskey, given that I'm filming this in late October, but it'll be mid-November by the time this video comes out, and or maybe it is appropriate after all. So yeah, time for a title change, I think, on this one. But there you have it. They are both very good. The Dalmore is for the non-connoisseur, the Bunnahabhain certainly is, and if you want that big rich experience, it's got to be the Bunnahabhain, but both are great options at relatively similar price points, but just be aware of that sneaky new, more purpley bottle from Dalmore, because it definitely isn't worth that much. And to be honest, that really is all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you will be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.